and it has been a minute. You know, life has been busy lately, and to be honest, I just haven't been doing thrifting or estate sales quite as much as I used to. Lately, when I do go thrifting, it's usually just like me popping into a thrift store when I'm out running errands, or I'll just meet up with a friend to hit some estate sales on a Saturday morning. But a lot of times I'm not searching them out quite like I used to be. And just to be honest, none of it has felt like interesting enough to make like an entire video out of. But I have gotten a few good finds over the last few months, and I thought it would be fun to just do sort of like a little sit down coffee chat and share my recent thrifting finds. So about a month ago, I did do a nice fun estate sale morning with my lovely friend Kristen. I don't remember a ton about the first house. I remember there wasn't quite as much stuff, but there was a ton of like little porcelain glass animal figurines, and they were adorable, like super duper cute. And I was kind of tempted to grab some, but they were like a little bit more pricey. I'm not a collector. I'm just sort of like in it for the kitschy fun vibes. And so it was just a little bit more than I want to spend, but I'm sure they were probably priced right for collectors and people who actually know what they're looking at with that stuff. I do remember that Kristen got some really cute artwork while we were there, so that was good. From there, we went over to another estate sale, which was a little bit of a hoarder house. Maybe not total hoarder, but definitely by the time we got there and people had pulled apart things, it had the vibes. And I did end up getting a couple good things from that one. First of all, this little wooden whale. How adorable is he? I am not totally sure what he was for. I think he had some sewing stuff in him, which it makes sense. I could see like using it for needles and little like not bobbins, like buttons and stuff. Like little things like that to catch all. I don't sew so much anymore. Lately I've had little matchbooks. We made little matchbooks for my work, and so I've had a few of those in there. Let me know what you would use it for, because it doesn't matter, adorable decoration either way, but I'm interested. I feel like other people always have the most fascinating ideas for how to use sort of like this funky little stuff that I sometimes find at thrift stores, so let me know what you would use the whale for. In the basement of that house, I also found a really cool vintage light. It's like a milk glass style light on a gold chain. I saw it and it had very like Art Deco-y vibes, fell in love with it instantly. It's only $10, which is incredible. Light fixtures could be so expensive, but this was like exactly what I would have dreamed of for the space I ended up putting it in. And $10, oh my gosh, you can't beat it. I did end up touching up the paint on the gold chain, partly because it was older and there were some spots that were kind of rusty looking, but also because it was like very yellowy and I wanted to kind of tone down the intense like almost like 80s gold vibes that it was giving, so I did it in more of a like champagne brassy look, and it's nice. It just tones it down just a little bit. So, and we ended up hanging it in the half bath, which I know that I had started my series showing the process of renovating the half bath, and I have actually finished it since then. I just have not gotten around to showing the last few bits of the process of that, but you'll get a sneak peek of it here because it's already hanging up in there, so I'll put some video up so that you can see how it looks in place. I just love it. Love the light. So happy with that find. One of my favorite finds so far this year, I think. I mentioned I found the light in the basement, but that definitely was one of those basements that was just packed full of stuff. I remember specifically that there was just tons of like freshly dry cleaned clothes hanging in the basement, like tons and tons and tons, like more stuff than I've ever for sure had dry cleaned. I mean, I've only had like 3 things dry cleaned in my life, but this was like an entire wardrobe worth of stuff that had been dry cleaned and then just hung up in the basement still in like the dry clean wrapping. And also in the basement, there was a lot of like art, and by that I mean it was like that 80s like inspirational animal art, like the kitty cat hanging from something saying just hang in there sort of thing, like lots of that type of art, like framed all the stuff. And I remember specifically I came across this box that was full of that like animal inspiration art, and I'm just like looking through it because I just thought those were just so funny. And I also came across some more adult art in that same box. It was literally that and the animal art, and I just broke down laughing. Thought it was the funniest thing. The two like different types of art in the same box. I know some people will be like, why in the world did you find that funny? But I think when it comes to estate sales, one of my favorite things about estate sales is that you get this weird little glimpse into somebody's life. And so you have this person or these people living together who have very different interests, or maybe it's the same person who just really loves like inspirational cat photos and also, you know, more adults things, and they put them all in the same box. And to me, that's just like hilarious. That's just, humans are really funny. And I think estate sales really give you a glimpse into being a human in a way that like you kind of rarely see. But anyway, that gave me a really good laugh. Moving along now, I did find a really adorable Charlie Brown, like vintage Charlie Brown book, and my one nephew is just obsessed with Charlie Brown, and so every time I see anything Charlie Brown, I instantly think of him. So I couldn't resist. I grabbed that, and I think it was like maybe 50 cents. Might have been less. I also found this cute little tin. It's a little like Greek inspired tin. Super cute. Reminded me of my great aunt and uncle. It's not made in Greece though. It says made in Holland on the bottom, which is really funny. But yeah, that's adorable. I've just been keeping like hair ties and stuff like that in there. And lastly, I found this adorable little paperweight bookend dog. Isn't he just so cute? Like I said, I'm not sure if he's a paperweight or he's probably not quite heavy enough to be a bookend, so he's probably a paperweight, but he is quite hefty. I am sure somebody much smarter than me can tell you what it's made out of, but I just don't know. I don't know if it's just glass or if it's like a special stone or whatever, but he's just so cute. The light I got for $10, but then basically everything else from that sale that I got, the whale, the tin, all of that stuff, was either $1 or $2. So this guy I think was $2. The whale I think was $1 or $2. Really good prices. So that same day, I did end up going to one more sale after that, but at that point it was sort of like towards the end of the estate sale day, which is like by like 2 o'clock, everything's like wrapped up and done. So it was like towards the end of the day. So the last sale that I went to was pretty picked over. There wasn't a lot left. It was very quiet. I remember I did end up getting one thing. This children's blanket. It's got like a really cute little kitschy like cowboy print on it, but it has this pink stitching on the edges, which I just thought like it was really cute that it's like cowboy stuff but with pink stitching, and it definitely seems to be vintage. I'm not an expert at vintage textiles, but feels like it to me. And I don't know, I just thought it was so adorable. It's got a few like even like little denim patches. I just thought that was so cute and I couldn't resist. Like I said, it is a children's blanket, so it's quite small. Not really big enough for an adult to use. So I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna do. I might let Dutch use it. She loves blankets, and you know, when you have a dog, I feel like you can never have too many blankets around because they're gonna steal all of them anyway. I think they originally wanted $10 and I was like, honestly, I definitely don't need this. Would you guys take 5? And they were like, absolutely. So sweet. Such nice ladies who worked that sale, I remember. So for $5, got a cute little blanket. So that's sort of the most exciting estate sale day that I had recently. I did go to, you know, 1 or 2 estate sales besides that recently, but honestly, I felt like it's been mostly a bust besides that one day. And like I said, I haven't been doing like a ton of thrifting lately, but I have been occasionally popping in, and every once in a while me and my sister will just like meet up and, you know, hit one thrift store. So I don't have a ton to show from that, but a few weeks ago I came across this adorable vintage Pyrex. I absolutely could not leave it at the thrift store. It was just way too cute. I do have some vintage Pyrex, but I've never been like a collector, and I definitely am by no means an expert, but I gave it a bing. I believe this is the 1971 Arches pattern. So, as you can see, I just think that pattern, it's still got the price tag from the thrift store on it. $3. Yeah. Such a good deal, but it's so cute in pretty darn good condition. So I just, like I said, I couldn't leave it. It's way too cute. I love the funky vintage vibes. So I think it'll just be like a nice little like decoration piece in the dining room. Last week, me and my sister did pop into a Goodwill for a little bit, and I shared a few of the items that I saw over on my Instagram just for fun. I actually am still thinking about these pieces of art that are like nail art. It's like nails with yarn used to sort of create designs, and maybe this is a really common like vintage thing that I've just never really seen before, but I thought so funky and fun. They definitely don't quite fit the vibe with my house, but I could just see somebody doing something really cute using those as decor. I would love to see it. If you have any of that style of like art, send me a pic because I'd love to see it. But besides those fun things that I saw, I did end up buying a Madewell gingham wrap dress, which is basically just like perfectly my style. Was so excited when I found it because I definitely was looking at like buying secondhand like Poshmarking some dresses like that recently, and then I just came across this and it was perfect. So honestly, that's basically everything that I've thrifted lately. But I did just want to talk real quick and kind of connect with you, especially if you've been following me and you've maybe wondered, maybe not, about, you know, when I'm going to add more content. I just wanted to like connect with you guys and, you know, let you know. So like I mentioned before, I've been really busy lately. I work a full-time job. I am not a full-time YouTuber, so my life looks a lot different than people who are full-time YouTubing and they can put out multiple videos a week. It's just hard to sort of work everything into a single week sometimes. On top of that, I've also been kind of struggling with like what to post. I know a lot of people started following me from my thrifting and estate sale videos, and it's been amazing to get to like connect with you all over something that I know we're all passionate about, myself still included. I still love these things. I've been finding lately that I just haven't necessarily been interested in doing those quite as much, simply because I don't need anything. I am not a reseller, and so for me, when I go to thrift stores and estate sales, I'm buying stuff for our house, for myself, and I'm not a person who loves to have like a ton of extra stuff. I'm still a bit more of a minimalist, just naturally. I don't like to have too much clutter in my space. And so for me, I try to be really thoughtful of what I bring home. I also try my best to be as genuine as I can be on social media, and so I don't want to be that person who's going out and buying stuff and going to estate sales just to make a video, because to me that feels a little inauthentic, and I just want to share this passion with you guys and not try to force it when it's not there. You know, I know in the future we will definitely have means to do more estate sailing and thrift shopping. Like, we are going to be working on our living room this year and renovating that. And once that's done, I definitely will need some pieces for the space. But like right now, I just don't have any big needs. All that is to say, I've been a little stuck on what to post. In the last year, I've occasionally tried to post different types of content, like vlogs and renovation stuff, and in general, they just perform really poorly. Don't get me wrong, I am by no means here to like beg you to watch those videos. If it's not interesting, it's not interesting, and that's perfectly fine. I don't ever want to guilt anybody into like watching videos they don't want to watch. But I've heard other YouTubers talk about the struggle of sort of when you build yourself in one specific niche, like how hard it is to really share anything besides things in that like super duper specific niche, and feeling a little bit stuck, especially since I have a full-time job and I'm renovating our house and we travel fairly regularly. YouTube is a big time commitment, and I do overall really love it. I love the platform. However, as somebody who's not a full-time YouTuber, it can also end up taking up a lot of time that I could be spending doing something else. The truth is, I don't have a plan for what exactly this channel is going to be moving forward. I definitely still will be sharing thrifting and estate sale videos when I have the time, and I'm doing those things because I genuinely love them. But like I said, I am really grateful that thrifting and estate sales have brought us together. I really want to genuinely show up and continue to connect with you guys. But you know, I'm a human being with a life. So if you have somehow made it this far in this video and you didn't just click off as soon as I was done with the thrift finds, you are amazing. You are a real MVP. I really, really appreciate you. I will be back soon with something. And I hope that you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.